Look at this island. It looks like a wasteland, like the surface of the moon. It is a desolate, gray, destroyed rock in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. But 40 years ago, this tiny speck of land was statistically the richest place on Earth. In 1980, the citizens of Nauru had a higher GDP per capita than the United States, higher than Saudi Arabia, higher than Switzerland. It was a place where the police chief bought a bright yellow Lamborghini, despite the fact that the entire country only has one road and the speed limit is 25 miles per hour. People flew in private jets just to go shopping for groceries. They imported fresh pizza from Australia on cargo planes. They literally ran out of room to store their cash. And then, almost overnight, it vanished. Today, Nauru is broke, the economy has collapsed, and the environment is destroyed. How did a nation sitting on a literal gold mine lose everything? This is the story of the most expensive mistake in history. To understand this madness, we have to go back to the year 1000. Nauru was just a quiet tropical paradise. Nobody cared about it. Until one day, an English prospector named Albert Ellis noticed a strange rock being used as a doorstop in an office in Sydney. He asked, "What is that?" They told him, "It's just petrified wood." Albert didn't believe them. He tested the rock in a lab, and he realized it wasn't wood. It was pure phosphate. Now, what is phosphate? Simple. It's fertilizer. It's the stuff that makes plants grow, and the entire island of Nauru was covered in phosphate. For millions of years, birds had been flying over the island and, well, doing their business. Millions of years of bird poop created the highest quality phosphate on the planet. Nauru wasn't an island, it was a treasure chest. For decades, foreign powers like Germany, the UK, and Australia mined the island and took the profits. But in 1968, Nauru gained independence, and for the first time, the money didn't go to London or Berlin. It went to the people of Nauru, all 9,000 of them. Suddenly, the smallest republic in the world became the richest. Imagine winning the lottery. Now imagine everyone in your entire city won the lottery on the same day. That is what happened in Nauru. The government didn't know what to do with the money, so they abolished taxes. No income tax, no corporate tax. Everything became free. Free healthcare, free education, free housing. If you needed medical treatment, they didn't send you to a local clinic. They flew you to a private hospital in Australia, first class. Nobody needed to work, so nobody did. People quit their jobs. Why work when the government sends you a check every month just for existing? They started spending money on insane things. They built a golf course, but nothing grows on phosphate rocks, so they had to import special grass and soil from other countries just to play golf. But the craziest story involved a musical. In 1993, the government's financial advisors decided to invest millions of dollars into a London theater production called Leonardo the Musical. It was a play about the love life of Leonardo da Vinci. It was a disaster. Critics hated it. The audience left early. The show closed after a few weeks. Nauru lost $7 million on a bad musical just because they could. But while they were partying, a silent killer was growing: obesity. Because nobody cooked anymore, everyone ate imported processed food. Western junk food became a status symbol. Within a few years, Nauru had the highest rate of type 2 diabetes in the world. The wealth was literally killing them. But here's the problem with mining. Eventually, you run out of stuff to mine. Everyone knew the phosphate would run out. So the government created a sovereign wealth fund. It was a savings account for the future. At its peak, this fund had over $1 billion. For a population of 9,000 people, that should have been enough to last forever. But remember those financial advisors? The ones who invested in the bad musical? They were incompetent, or corrupt, or both. They lost millions in bad real estate deals. They bought hotels in Australia that nobody stayed in. They were scammed by international con artists who saw Nauru as an easy target. Estimates say that out of $1.3 billion, nearly all of it was lost, stolen, or wasted. By the late 1990s, the mines were empty, the savings account was empty, and the party was over. But the tragedy wasn't just financial, it was physical. Look at the island from above. To get the phosphate, they had to strip mine the surface. They removed the trees, they removed the soil. They left behind jagged, sharp limestone pinnacles. Today, 80% of Nauru is uninhabitable. You can't live there. You can't grow food there. They literally destroyed their own home to sell it to strangers. When you are broke, desperate, and have no economy, you do desperate things. In the early 2000s, Nauru turned to the dark side. They became a tax haven. But not a normal tax haven. They allowed anyone to open a bank with no questions asked. For $25,000, you could register a bank in Nauru without even stepping foot on the island. At one point, there was a single government mailbox in Nauru that was the registered address for 400 different banks. Who used these banks? The Russian mafia, Al-Qaeda, international drug cartels. The U.S. Treasury estimated that $70 billion of Russian mafia money was laundered through Nauru in just 1 year. Nauru became a gangster's paradise. Eventually, the world said enough. The U.S. imposed heavy sanctions. Nauru was forced to shut down the banks. So they tried one last scheme: selling people. Well, not selling them, hosting them. Australia has a very strict immigration policy. They didn't want refugees arriving by boat, so they made a deal with Nauru. We will give you millions of dollars of aid if you let us build a detention center on your island. Nauru accepted. The island that was once the richest in the world became a prison, a holding cell for refugees who had nowhere else to go. For years, the detention center was Nauru's only source of income. Their economy depended on keeping other people miserable. Today, the phosphate is gone. The money is gone. The health of the people is in crisis. Nauru is a warning to the world. It shows us what happens when we prioritize short-term profit over long-term survival. They extracted every last dollar from their land until there was no land left. It's easy to laugh at the musical or the Lamborghini in the jungle, but really, isn't Nauru just a mirror? Are we doing the same thing to our planet, just on a bigger scale? Nauru thought the party would last forever, but eventually, music always stops. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I dig up the economic mysteries that no one else talks about. Thanks for watching.